This is a prepaid debit call from
Hello. An inmate at the correctional institution.
To accept this call, press 0.
Hello, good people, and welcome to the inaugural broadcast of the Rant News. My name is Jono, and I am not a journalist, but I am doing my best. Before we begin, I'd like to say what you'll be getting with this broadcast. Here, our viewers will get a succinct rundown of major news happening in the country and internationally with brief, straightforward commentary. These news segments will last a little under 20 minutes, sometimes a lot less than 20 minutes, right? But we know that as the landscape in news loses credibility, we realize that people will be looking for reliable, easy to understand news coverage. And it is our goal with this broadcast to keep everyone informed. And now, without further delay, let's get into our first story. The Epstein files are coming. The Epstein files are coming. Congress has voted to release the Epstein files. Both the House and Senate voted to release the Epstein files with large support from both the Democratic and Republican parties. This comes even with the Republican-controlled Congress and previous disagreements largely across party lines, including the recently ended government shutdown. There is some speculation about which individuals will be named in the files, with many alleging that President Donald J. Trump's name should appear numerous times due to the years long friendship with the late Epstein. Questions remain as to whether criminal charges will be brought against individuals whose names appear in the file. I know that that's something we want to keep an eye on, and we'll keep watching for that as the story unfolds in Washington, D.C. On to our next story. Trump calls for the death of certain lawmakers after claims of seditious behavior. This is not very presidential. Trump's post on Truth Social accuses Democrats of seditious behavior after a video calling for military and other government officials to disobey illegal orders was surfaced or resurfaced. In the Truth Social post, Trump states this behavior is punishable by death. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the video released by Democratic lawmakers wildly inappropriate. Speaker Mike Johnson did concede that he would not use the same language, and I guess we could say that that's a good thing, right? This administration continues with its inflammatory and divisive language, and language is at the forefront of this next story. As the CDC no longer considered a trustworthy source by scientists, doctors, and public health officials. According to the New York Times, RFK Jr. says he instructed CDC to change language surrounding vaccines and autism on their website. Autism Science Foundation says that the statement, vaccines do not cause autism, is not an evidence based claim and that the claim contradicts the best available science. According to a survey reported on by NBC News, doctors believe that medical misinformation has gotten worse, with 86% of physicians surveyed saying they'd encountered more misinformation among patients within the last 5 years than in years prior. Doctors, scientists, and other public health officials have taken matters into their own hands, penning articles and using social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube to spread information deemed accurate by peer reviewed studies. And so you can see why trust is declining in this administration by some domestically and abroad. Now, on to our international news. The United Nations Security Council adopted the plan for Gaza put forth by President Trump. According to CNN, Russia and China abstained from the vote, also declining to use their veto power to block the resolution. The resolution includes language for Palestinian statehood, but has proposed no timeline for it, adding to concerns about what has been criticized as vagueness in the measure. There is a clear lack of mainstream media outlets reporting about the Palestinian perspective on this proposed plan, which can be problematic because, of course, their feelings are something that we need to keep in consideration. Media outlet Al Jazeera reports that human rights group Al Haq warned that the resolution undermines Palestinians' right to self-determination, with Hamas also rejecting the resolution due to it imposing an international guardianship. Now, this wraps up our main stories as we move on to the watch list. The rant watch list is going to be a few stories that we want to keep an eye on as the week progresses, with our first story being about New York City Mayor elect Zoran Mamdani meeting President Donald Trump this past week. Trump appears to like Mamdani and said that he believed he would do a great job as NYC mayor. Who saw that coming? Large sections of the country are waiting for Trump tariff rebate checks. That's another thing we want to keep an eye on. Whether or not these rebate checks will come to fruition and whether or not Congress will approve it. Congress is already stating that the deficit is large enough and that most extra funds should be used to help with that. So we'll see what that turns into. Finally, the Bush family has declared a return to politics during this drastic shift to the extreme right by the Republican base. It is speculated that the family hopes to bring the Republican Party back to what it once was. And we will keep watching these stories and more to give you updates as they come. Thank you for tuning into this news broadcast. You can find the Rant Network on Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. See our link tree in the description below for our handles on other platforms, and be sure to give us a follow if you really like what we're doing. And like we always say, if you don't like what we're doing, tell your enemies so that they can listen, right? This has been a verified Rant News broadcast. And with that, Rant out.